Hi, it's the middle of February, and today I want to bring you what I'm calling a Feel Good February video. Now, I shouldn't say I'm calling it that because actually, this whole idea, this whole concept for reading what feels good to you in February came from Marilyn over at Marilyn Maya Mendoza. And yes, she did a couple of videos very recently, and I think she's doing a few more this month, really focusing on comfort books, cozy books, books that make her feel good. And that struck a chord with me. Recently, I've been filming clips for my first ever vlog, and I've mentioned it in a couple of my past videos that I was going to be doing this, and I am featuring two crime fiction series. I'm reading the first book in each one, and I've been collecting these books used for quite a while and really anticipating reading them. I do love crime fiction, even the grittier crime fiction, and so yeah, I've been very excited about getting to them. And so I read the first book and did all the clips as I went along, and it was great. But when I finished it, I thought, I'm just not in the mood for reading crime fiction right now. I'm feeling the need, like Marilyn mentioned in her videos, to read some cozy comfort books. Just some stuff that feels really good to me for the rest of February. I've got 2 more weeks, and I really want to make them count and sort of build up my reservoir of good feelings. And then I was watching Gina over at Gina Stan Your Books, and she has a second channel, if you didn't know, called Lazy Cow Living. It is hilarious and cozy and great. Yeah, both of her channels are. And she saw Marilyn's video and she said she loved that idea. Feel Good February should be a reading event. And I am hoping that next February, Marilyn and maybe Gina will, make this an event. I am all there for it. I'm part of this event because I love comfort reading. I love cozy reading. And I was thinking about it, and even though the word comfort often does mean cozy, especially in relation to books and especially in my vocabulary, but it also, in relation to reading, can mean reading in your comfort zone. So truly, whatever books make you feel comfortable, whatever books you really enjoy that you consider to be in, your favorite comfort zones, those would qualify for Feel Good February, wouldn't they? So today I want to share with you some of what I've been reading and some of what I'm going to be reading this week, and a couple of little cozy hobbies, and even a really great channel I think you should follow, a newer channel that's extremely cozy, extremely bookish. Yeah, I'm going to share all these with you because I would love for you to enjoy the rest of February in this feel-good way that Marilyn and Gina talked about and that I'm already enjoying and planning to enjoy even more the rest of the month. So I'm Kim, and this is an oasis of books. I live in Northern California, and for the first part of February, it was sunny and warm, even hit the 70s Fahrenheit. My fruit orchard thought it was definitely spring already and got blossoms going everywhere on all my plums and pluots and nectarine trees. But now, as of the last few days, it is gray and drizzly and chilly. That's why I've got a blanket here. I mean, chilly is relative. It's, in the lower 50s Fahrenheit this week, which is chilly to me. But reading cozy, comfort, feel-good books warms me up from the inside out. So it's all good. So before I share the books I've just finished and the books I'm starting to read now, I thought I would point out and link down below and at the end of this video, a video I recently did that highlighted 7 fabulous cozy books that I read and I think would be perfect for many of you for Feel Good February. But what did I just finish reading that I really want to recommend to you? Let me grab it. This book right here, The House at the End of Hope Street by Menna von Praag. This was, it was the best book to read this week ever, okay? It is definitely a cozy book, and it's very bookish, and it has a lot of magical realism in it. Let me read to you about it. After Alba Ashby, the youngest PhD student at Cambridge University, suffers the worst event of her life, she finds herself at the door of 11 Hope Street. There, a beautiful older woman named Peggy invites Alba to stay, but tells her there is a condition: she has 99 nights only, no more, to turn her life around. Once inside, Alba sees that 11 Hope Street is no ordinary place. Past residents include Virginia Woolf, Dorothy Parker, Agatha Christie, all who stayed there when they too had lost hope. With the house's help, Alba decides to risk everything and embarks on a journey that might even save her life. So this book has portraits of all the women who've stayed there in the past, and they are amazing women. Yes, many writers, but also artists, musicians, actresses, just creative women, powerful women, even others like women suffragists. But they're all women who at one point needed some encouragement, needed some inspiration, and they found it in this house. So this book actually has 4 points of view, well, with a minor 5th point of view occasionally. And that's something I don't usually care for, multiple points of view, but it works perfectly in this book, just so well. And of course, Alba is the main point of view, but then we've got Peggy. She's sort of the house mother. She's been there forever, like decades and decades. And so it's really interesting to hear the history of the house and the mothers of the house that have come along before her. And then there's, in addition to Alba, 2 other women who are staying at the house at the same time as she is, and we get all of their stories, and it is so fascinating. Just like the previous Menna von Praag book I read, which would also qualify as a cozy comfort read. I think anything written by this author would. And that was The Lost Art of Letter Writing, which I featured in a video at the end of 2025. And that one was an amazing read too. But this book, along with The Lost Art of Letter Writing and 2 others, The Patron Saint of Lost Souls and The Dress Shop of Dreams, are 4 companion books, all set in Cambridge in England, and all with the same cozy, magical realism feel. Now, what am I going to be reading this week that fits in with Feel Good February? Well, I've got 2 cozy mysteries lined up because really, is there anything that is more feel-good than a cozy mystery? I don't think so. And then I have a couple other books too. So let me go through those now with you. So the first of these cozy mysteries, if you can believe it, is also written by Menna von Praag. Yes, I couldn't believe it when I discovered that she's also written cozy mysteries. She has a series of 6 that I'm hoping she continues to add more to. These are called the Biscuit Tin Murders, and the Biscuit Tin is the name of a cafe that Olive Crisp, that's the woman's name, Olive Crisp, owns and runs. And of course, biscuit is the term that we in the US call cookie, but in Britain they say biscuit. And so she has this bakery and she distributes all sorts of sweets to everyone around her in Cambridge, because yes, this series is set in Cambridge too. And she also enjoys eating all these sweets herself. So Olive is 40 years old and she comes from a long line of women. It's a matriarchal lineage back to the 1600s. When the Biscuit Tin Cafe was first given to them by the king, because the first owner was a mistress of the king at that time. And it's been handed down from daughter to daughter to daughter ever since. And Olive is 40 years old now and no daughter yet. So that factors into the series as well. There's a bit of romance. There's all sorts of cozy feels. And they're solving mysteries, in this case, a murder. So this series is set in the 1970s and it's labeled the Cozy Culinary Cambridge Mysteries. And the byline is a slice of cake and a serving of crime. The first book is A Fatal Fall at King's College. And yes, I'm halfway through it and absolutely loving it. I can't wait to read all the others. Because they're so short, like 100 to 200 pages, varies from book to book, I can read all 6 of them probably in a week and not have any problem with that, and just really sink into that world and feel good enjoying it. Now, the second cozy mystery I'm going to read this week, I have been looking forward to for a while now, and I'm giving myself permission with this Feel Good February month to just read all the mysteries and cozy books I want. So here we go with number 2 in the Emily Dickinson mystery series by Amanda Flower, and it is I Heard a Fly Buzz When I Died. I loved the first book in this series because I could not stop for death, and I know this one's going to be just as good. Emily Dickinson is one of my favorite nature poets, maybe my most favorite, and I was a little hesitant when starting this series, wondering if Amanda Flower, who is, I know, a great cozy mystery writer, if she could do justice to Emily Dickinson, but I feel like she really did. So this historical cozy mystery series is right up at the top for me of all historical cozies. Set in one of my favorite time periods, the 1850s, this series takes Emily and her maid and friend Willa through solving various mysteries. And what is this second title about? Well, it's August 1856, and Emily's brother, Austin, and his new wife, they are hosting Ralph Waldo Emerson. He comes to town, to Amherst, to speak at a literary society. And Willa encourages Emily to talk to the man about her poetry, even though Emerson is known as being really stern. And so Emily does so. Now, Emerson brings with him his assistant, Luther, and Luther seems to be admiring of both of the Dickinson sisters, but Willa is suspicious of that. She doesn't really think he's actually authentically admiring them. She thinks he's out for their money. But before she can figure that out, he ends up dead. And Emerson is not happy about that, of course, and wants to get to the bottom of it. So Emily and Willa start investigating, determined to solve this murder and prevent any possible further murders, and to clear the name and reputation of Emily's family and the people who work at the Dickinson house. So yes, I cannot wait to read this one and then move on to book number 3. Amanda Flower is a great cozy mystery author, and I'm finding is a fantastic historical fiction writer too. Speaking of historical fiction, this is the next book I want to read this week, Pictures from an Expedition. Now, this is by Diane Smith, the author of one of my favorite books of 2025, which was Letters from Yellowstone. And I will link in the description below a video where I talk about that book, because that will be another fabulous book to read for Feel Good February. But this one I've been saving for a time like this because I know I'm going to love this. Diane Smith, I just wish she had written more novels. Maybe she will. But it's so good. It really is. If you love nature, if you love reading about women who were sort of pioneers in the sciences, the natural sciences, you're going to love this book, as well as Letters from Yellowstone. So Pictures from an Expedition is set in 1876, and it's about a woman in her late 30s who's a scientific illustrator, Eleanor, and her friend and colleague, Augustus, who is an aging portrait painter. And together they join a band of people, other creatives and scientists, who go to Montana to a dinosaur fossil dig. And that just sounds so intriguing to me. I cannot wait to read this book, and I know based on Letters from Yellowstone, it's going to be diverse. It's going to be full of the history of what was going on there at the time, and full of the very beginnings of environmentalism here in the United States, and all from the perspective of a woman natural scientist. You know, speaking of nature, there's not much more comforting or cozy than going out and experiencing nature, whether that's out in your garden or out on a walk with your dog, hiking by a river, or if you're a little more spry than me, maybe climbing a mountain. But you know, the thing is, in the northern hemisphere, it's still a little chilly to get out there and say work in your garden. but you can read about nature. And that's what I've been doing with this book. I've been dipping in and out of it already and plan to continue to do so throughout the rest of February. This is a book I picked up recently when I visited the John Muir House, a couple hours from me in the Bay Area. By the way, that is another very cozy, comforting, feel-good thing you can do in February. Visit historical sites and museums and art galleries. Yeah, I always feel good when I do that. So yes, I picked up this book there, The Wisdom of John Muir. Its subtitle being 100 Selections from the Letters, Journals, and Essays of the Great Naturalists. So definitely a book you can pick up and put down and come back to whenever you just want that spark of nature inserted into your day. And I've really been enjoying it. You know, when I sit down to have lunch or right before I go to bed. And another type of nature reading that would work really well for that is nature poetry. Maybe some Emily Dickinson. The last book I've got on the list to try out this week is Delicious by Ruth Reichl. Now, she is known for her memoirs. As a food critic, she's had a very interesting life, quite varied in her experience. And I have enjoyed some of her writings before, but this is one of only 2 novels she's written. This was the first, and this one follows Billy, a young girl from California who gets a job at a food magazine in New York City. And so she goes there, sort of feels completely out of place at first, but gets sucked into the city life, and especially the food life. And she gets a weekend job at an Italian restaurant, which she loves. And yeah, it just follows her experiences there, which from what I read on the inside cover lead to some hidden discoveries of letters linking back to World War II. Now, I've heard some say this book is really light on plot, but if you enjoy food writing, you're gonna very much enjoy reading this book. So I'm thinking, yeah, that's kind of what I want to get out of it, is that cozy, immersive food feeling. Yeah, it sounds like quite a novel, which again, I'm gonna enjoy for the food. Now, I mentioned a minute ago that it's still a little too cold in February to get out in nature, but one of the things we can do to get that cozy, comforting nature feeling is to look at seed catalogs, whether veggies or flowers. It is always fun in the winter and very early spring, especially when you're impatient to get out there, to look through seed catalogs. Whether you end up ordering seeds or not, it just sort of preps you, or at least it does me, to get out there and get going. And another thing you can do is read about animals out in nature, like birds. And I highlighted this book, Amy Tan's Backyard Bird Chronicles, in that recent video I did, 7 Cozy Books, which I will link up above for you. Yeah, this is a fantastic cozy memoir that includes Amy Tan's own drawings. Some of them are so beautiful. Here we've got a spotted towhee, a dark-eyed junco, and an oak titmouse. And I've been reading about crows recently, so I really appreciated this comic type drawing she did featuring crows and mother love and sibling rivalry. So yes, I do want to get into the hobby of bird watching, and I bought my binoculars, and I've got my basic birding books that I need to study. So these also would probably be very feel good, because even if I never get around to actually watching the birds, which I'm going to do, I promise. But even just looking through the books is not only educational, but inspirational and so relaxing. I love seeing photographs like this one here, and hopefully looking through books like this will motivate me to actually get my binoculars out, put on a coat, and get out there and watch some birds. Now, there are a lot of cozy, comforting, feel-good hobbies. I love to crochet. I love to bake. But one of the things I love to do year-round, but especially right now, when I need some extra feel-good vibes, is to go thrifting, especially book thrifting. And that's what I've got right here. I found these 4 books yesterday for 50 cents each. You can't beat that. And look at this one. Mary Stewart's A Walk in Wolf Wood. Now, last October, I started an event called Suspense in October that features Mary Stewart's writing. And I discovered that not only did she write romantic suspense, but she also wrote a couple of children's books, including this one. And I read it from the library because I could not find a used copy. So imagine my surprise and pleasure to find this one, because this was very well done. It's historical fantasy middle grade and so enjoyable to read. The others I picked up were Linda Sue Park's A Long Walk to Water. She's a fabulous writer. I just read her Prairie Lotus, which is in my opinion, necessary companion book to the Little House series, and it was so good. And I'm really looking forward to reading this one too. And then I've been wanting to reread some Kate Chopin, including The Awakening and others of her short stories. Found this one just yesterday. And this one, which I'd not heard of before, The Story of More, How We Got to Climate Change and Where to Go From Here, by Hope Jaron. And I have read her other book, Lab Girl, and really enjoyed that. So when I saw this, I thought, oh, definitely going to get this one and enjoy reading it soon. So the last, but definitely not least thing that I want to share with you today is a wonderful new booktube channel called A Novel Life with Rachel. I think if you go check out this channel, watch a few of the back videos, you're going to love it and want to subscribe immediately. It is a cozy channel. Rachel is friendly, approachable. She's eclectic and inclusive. She used to be a high school AP lit teacher, so she's able to analyze classic literature in a really accessible and creative way that I have really enjoyed. Rachel's also a very talented crocheter, and it's been great seeing all the fun projects that she's been working on. Now, her latest video was so nostalgic and, yes, definitely so cozy, comfy, and feel good. It was all about the American Girl books. Yes, so she featured specifically the Molly books, which were her favorites when she was a kid, and she read through the first three. She highlighted the paper dolls. She did one of the crafts from the craft book. She talked about the movies. She also let us in on the fact that there is an adult American Girl book coming out for the first time ever. In October, we're going to get to read a follow-up Samantha book featuring Samantha when she's 26, in the 20s, encouraging women to vote for the first time. I cannot wait to get my hands on this book in October. Now, as with all her other videos, in this American Girl one, Rachel asked for comments. She asked for interaction. She asked us, what are our favorite American Girl books? For me, it's more like, what were my kids' favorite American Girl books? Now, I always wanted a large family, and I definitely have one. I had 10 kids, 9 still living. I had 4 sons, 5 daughters, and a non-binary child. And when I started reading aloud to my oldest child when she was 4, it was 1991. And American Girl books only came out in 1986, so they were brand new. And at that time, there were only the 3 original sets. They were Kirsten, my personal favorite, Samantha, and Molly, the one that Rachel featured. And very shortly after that, Addie came out, which was another of my kids' favorites. Now, as a matter of fact, Rachel pointed out, and I agree, and so many people that I've talked to who have read these books think the same thing. There is an American Girl that fits every reader. Like, depending on the personality and the time period that you enjoy the most, you're gonna find an American Girl that goes along with it. Especially now, there's so many of them. But it's true that Kirsten will always be my favorite, but I enjoy all of them. So definitely head on over to Rachel's channel, A Novel Life with Rachel, which I'll link down in the description below. And don't forget to check out, and if you're not yet subscribed, subscribe to Marilyn Maya Mendoza, who first talked about Feel Good February and all the great, comfy, cozy, feel-good books she's going to be reading this month, and Gina Stanier and her 2 fantastic channels. Gina Stand Your Books, and Lazy Cow Living. I'm sure most of you already watch these channels, but I couldn't end a Feel Good February video without recommending these Feel Good channels to you. So I'll be back soon with another Feel Good February video, but until next time, I'm wishing you lots and lots of feel good reading throughout February and all of 2026.